The views and opinions expressed in the Golden Boot podcast are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Golden Boot podcast as a whole.
Y'all ready to get rolling? Quiet on the set. Hey, welcome back. Another high episode of the Golden Boot. It's your boy Pooh Bell. I got my man Aunt Petty Murphy in the building. What's good with you, my boy? You on mute.
I said, just ready to get back on this NCAA.
Yeah, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. I just sneezed and I got a headache. So that might be a sign. We need to get through this one tonight. We got a good one, though. Got some good things to talk. We got some interesting topics. NCAA with some rulings and some stuff, some announcements and stuff. They finna shake some things up big time.
Yeah.
Speeding out that thing, ain't
it? Yeah. They tripping out there, man.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the conversation we got. Dana said she was waiting on the new intro song. I would. That might be next show. That might have to be a Sunday show.
Can't do that on a Sunday, man.
All right, it might be. All right, we'll make it. But man, looking forward to the conversation tonight. Not looking forward to who we talking about, but who we talking to is,
Yeah, I had to pour me a drink. It's Florida night, so I had to pour me a drink to get through this one.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out if I'm gonna come in on my Kendrick. I hate the way y'all walk. I hate the way you talk, the way you move. Or if I was just gonna, come in with
hate.
Yeah. Oh, Buck nasty. Boy, I miss the good old days. Man, we got some good stuff to talk about. You mentioned about getting back on the game. We talked a little bit beforehand. I transferred. My guy was at Buffalo, represented. We transferred when he came down to LSU.
Hey, kudos to you for going to a MAC school, though, bro. Kudos to you.
Man, I'm telling you, it's actually, I went to James Madison.
Yeah.
I told you what happened.
That's a good one.
They got nope. But yeah, I went to Buffalo. That's actually a really good
and I got I went to Tulane because I wanted to play right away as a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And they I did the proximity to home and all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? So they got some weapons out there too, boy, with Shaz Preston, former Alabama transfer.
I forgot Shaz is at.
Yeah, they got, so check this out. They got a former Alabama transfer, a former LSU transfer, a former USC transfer, all in the receiving room.
They loaded. Tulane gonna be good. I told you. I can't.
And they got a transfer from Oregon at quarterback.
I told you. Best group of 5 team. I'm feeling. I'm trying to think of who gonna compete.
They got a Colorado running back transfer. And they got another running back. He ain't even a starter. He on the game. He the backup.
Yeah, they got that freshman. Well, he a sophomore now.
Yeah,
That running back
that boy Cole, son.
He from Alabama,
Birmingham
area, I think. Yeah, I watched him live last year.
That boy Cole, son.
Yeah, he is. Let me ask you a question, and this for everybody watching in the chat too. I know how I used to do it back in the day when I used to play the game, and they used to tell me a lot about the roster and stuff like that. Do you kind of feel the same way now? Like looking at it, like, okay, this team, you know what I'm saying, might look out for this.
Check this out. I play college fantasy football.
Mm-hmm.
I'm scouting all these games I've been playing. Oh, who that dude is? Who that dude? I'm scouting, bro. I'm trying to, because I'm in 2 college fantasy football leagues. Mm-hmm. One of them is a Power 5 in Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And then the other one is all FBS.
So that's how you can find them sleepers.
So as I'm Tulane, and I'm playing, Tulsa, and I'm playing my Memphis and all these schools like that, trying to see who their running back is. Let me see what their receivers look like. You know what I mean? Like, it's an interesting tool, and it's a useful tool for that. But like you said, though, if you betting at over-unders or something like that, you know what I mean, for season totals, you can kind of get a look and see who got a little something on the team, at least based off what EA Sports, projections are based off their PFF grades or whatever. But yeah, so I think it's useful if you're trying to find out about other teams, especially teams you ain't really familiar with.
I completely agree. I'm using it for that reason. To kind of, play the game, enjoy it, look at, some other teams and stuff like that. But yeah, man. I love it. I love it. Dylan. It's good. We had our first practice yesterday for Dylan's team. So we introduced all the kids and stuff. The kids let them introduce themselves and who, what they like. A lot of them said they like football. One kid said, college football 25. And anybody want to smoke can get it. That's what he said. And so, and we was talking, and one of the coaches said, I play college football, and he, and I play it too, and I can beat y'all stuff. And so he was going over stuff, and what we're gonna be doing at practice. One little boy, the little boy who said he raised his hand and said, "Coach, you want that smoke? What's your game attack?" He said, "Man, go on." So yeah, it's been good, man. Kids, of all ages have enjoyed it, and you could definitely tell. But man, let's get into this show, man. We've been the game that took over the show. Our time management is off. But here we go, man. Give a shout out to our sponsor over at BetOnline. BetOnline.ag. We will be back in 1 minute.
BetOnline.ag is your number one source for all your sports information, stats, news, and scores. Get the latest odds, lines, and player injury reports for this year's NBA and NHL playoffs. BetOnline is always your sports information headquarters. This season, we have you covered for all your sports wagering needs. We have everything from NBA, NFL, MLB, and NHL to golf, tennis, UFC, and boxing. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info, including live betting options and your favorite casino and card games that you can play right from your home. Head on over to betonline.ag today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Be sure to use the promo code BLEAV to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts.
All right, man. We are back. We got our guest is in the building. We'll bring him up shortly. But before we get there, man, Ant, did you see the video? Coco Gauff.
What video?
So there's a video. The Team USA, all the different sports for the Olympics, were standing around and taking pictures and stuff, and they were, saying kind of like a media I guess, presser or whatever, displaying their polo, Olympic polo outfits or whatever. And Chris Eubanks, he's a tennis player on the Olympic team went to Georgia Tech. Kind of stopped and was kind of giving this. It's funny because the way it started, I thought he was finna propose, but he started talking about Coco Gauff and saying how he's watched her grow as a player and and how she had an amazing year last year winning the Grand Slam. And then he announced that she will be a flag bearer along with LeBron James for the Olympics for Team USA.
That's a dope honor.
It is, man. I was kind of shocked because I didn't know that there were two flag bearers.
Yeah.
So
somebody said LeBron is the flag bearer for like the whole Olympics though, not just for the USA.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't know enough about
that
it.
would be interesting.
I don't know enough about it to tell you the truth. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm just ready for the Olympics to get here so I can watch track and field.
Yeah. Dave asked, "Can I use Bet Online in Texas?" Yes, you can use Bet Online everywhere. Actually, I say that, and then it'll be some Slavic country where if you make a bet, that's you gotta give up your firstborn. But I believe so. He also says, "Man, this game must be something serious. I'm afraid if I got it, some 7-year-old will make me want to kick a hole in the PS5."
That's why I ain't played online yet. Plus, I gotta get what's it called, PlayStation Plus or whatever.
Yeah. You do have to have PlayStation Plus.
I ain't did none of that yet, so I got to try it. I just been playing Road to Glory. That's all I've been playing.
That's all. I have not done Dynasty. I've strictly Road to Glory. I played a few games against the computer, enough to know I am not playing on Heisman again.
Yeah, that's the first thing I did was play a game on Heisman versus the computer.
Nope.
And yeah, I quickly was
you can call me whatever you want. I am not playing on Heisman. All American me all day. Hey, yeah. I'm good. I'm good enough. All of it. It's only one Heisman a year. It's a bunch of All Americans. So, speaking of a bunch of Matt Rhule came out today at the Big Ten convention. I know it's media day, but I'm just saying convention because there's a bunch of them like evangelists. But Matt Rhule came out and made a statement today that the Big Ten is the best conference. It is the NFL of colleges, of college conferences, something to that effect. A lot of people were like, "Man, he tripping," but he might have somewhat of a valid point.
Think
with
so?
the teams. I think he has some validity. I mean, you think about teams that were added, you got your Oregon, you got your Washington,
But what is Washington?
What do you mean? What is Washington?
I mean, the board's gone, Penix gone, all those receivers gone.
I don't know, but I mean, we've seen Washington bounce back before. USC's there. UCLA, yeah, we've seen them because it was before it was Penix. What's the other kid that was there?
We talking about when Chris Peterson was there?
Yeah, when Chris Peterson was there.
I mean,
now they got the who's the kid from the kid? I'm sorry, who's the coach that was at Arizona?
Yeah, Jed Fish, but he ain't bring nobody with him though. So what does his roster look like?
He got a good quarterback. He got
lost a lot.
Oh, he got a good quarterback? Is that where real Will Rogers went?
I don't know where he went.
I don't know. Yeah, that's where Will Rogers went. Yeah, thank you from the back, confirming it for me. I think Washington's gonna be all right. They not gonna be but but still, Michigan
all right though. Like, what's all right? Because I mean, I think Texas A&M gonna be all right.
I'm not talking about cult leaders headache.
I'm just saying, like, what's like what we like? All right, who the best team in the Big Ten? Ohio State.
Ohio State this year.
All right, so you got Ohio State and Georgia. They wouldn't what? Right? That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, next team in the Big Ten, Oregon.
Oregon or Michigan.
Michigan lost like 80% of their team, bro, or they starters last year. They got a whole new coaching staff, brand new quarterback, brand new running back. Although he was the backup and played a lot,
Yeah.
he wasn't. He hadn't been a bell cow running back before. They lost their pretty much whole receiving core.
Mhm. So you say Oregon? Where do you? Okay, well, where do you put Michigan now?
It might be below Penn State.
Oh, that's cold blooded. Well, where's you?
I mean, I'm just being honest because I don't.
So let me ask you this: who's number 3?
I don't know what Sharon Moore is as a head coach for one. I don't know what Orgeai is as a quarterback for two. Only thing I know on Michigan is they got a good defensive line and Donovan Edwards. That's all I know.
Okay. What is well, where's USC? Are they number 3?
No. I don't know enough about Miller Mouse. I saw one game with Miller Mouse.
That's fair. That's fair.
I'm telling you, I think Penn State would be number 3 right now. At least, I mean, they got a 3-year, they got a quarterback going in his 3rd year starting. They got a decent running game. They got decent receivers out wide, and they got a good defense. I mean,
so overall, you think Matt Rhule full of it?
Yeah. I mean, top to bottom, I think the SEC better than the Big Ten.
I'm not gonna disagree. I think he has a decent point, a valid point. But
will Vanderbilt beat the worst team in the Big Ten? That's the question.
No.
Who the worst team? You don't think Vandy could beat Northwestern?
Vandy struggled with who did they struggle with last year? Hawaii and somebody else.
Northwestern almost lost to Howard.
They also had, but okay, they almost lost to Howard last year. Yeah, they were going through turmoil and stuff like that. On the average year, would they almost
on the average year? What Pat Fitzgerald gone? He the only reason that Northwestern was even competent.
That's fair. I still don't think Vandy would beat Northwestern. They say, yeah, I don't know.
I think they would, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. Let's ask our guest when he get up what he think.
All right. Well, top to bottom, I do think the SEC is better, but I don't think it's crazy to not think that the Big Ten is not in that conversation.
I think the difference is that the Big Ten teams, they might be good like once every 3-4 years versus SEC schools are usually perennially good. You get what I'm saying? Right. But I mean, they the second best conference by far, and I ain't saying it's a big gap between them and the SEC. I just think the SEC better.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's any doubt the SEC isn't better when you consider that last year was the first time in
forever
10 years that anybody outside of the South won a national championship. So
yeah.
But all right, man, we got a guess. Let's get them on. Coming to you from Gators Breakdown, the host, Mr. David Waters, better known as Gator Dave. How you doing, man?
What's going on? I'm slipping on my job over here, man.
I'm good.
I was trying to steal a drink.
All right, glad to have you on. I told this joke last week about it was with Ole Miss. We had to do some rescheduling and stuff there. I said it felt like Joe Lee was trying to reschedule that Hurricane game with Florida. And it was kind of the same. July is a hot month. A lot going on, but we got here. We got you here. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. We hill off, off the hills. The SEC Media Days last week, so starting camp next week. We're right in the middle of it.
Football season is here, baby.
Yeah, trying to get by. I heard you guys talking about the video game earlier, so yeah, been getting into it as well.
Okay,
I've been doing some scouting.
What's your favorite part of the game?
Trying to figure it out.
Right.
Because I heard y'all talking. I hadn't ramped it up to Heisman yet. I was like, you know what? I've probably played 10 games of Madden since NCAA went away, so I hadn't really been playing college football video games all that much. So I put it on All-American, and it woke me up. I'm still throwing like 4 picks a game, and finally got defense a little bit figured out. I ain't giving up 40 points a game anymore. But
defense is crazy hard on that game, man.
Yeah.
One thing I learned, I was struggling to beat a team. I'm not going to say what team it was, but I was determined I'm not playing any other mode until I can beat the computer, beat this team. I changed playbooks.
Yeah.
And picked a different playbook, wiped the floor with them.
It
was still on All-American.
That much trouble?
Yeah, it did. It was South Alabama, all right. It was yeah, but it was nah, man. Nah, it was Troy.
You was getting your Ed Orgeron on that.
Yeah, that's who playbook I was using. Golly, toss dive every 5 minutes. But no, Dave, man, I do want to say I'm enjoying the going around talking to the different teams. We've kind of, this is Florida's the last team, and it's fitting. I don't like Florida.
I hate them.
I don't. I'm gonna be honest. I ain't gonna sugarcoat it. I don't like Florida. I was looking forward to talking to you, but I don't like Florida. So I'm glad you can come in and give us a little bit of biasness on the Florida side. So tell us the truth though. But man, how it is. I feel like it's the biggest rival for LSU. I mean, the Alabama series, yeah, but Florida LSU seems like that rivalry for me.
I would say probably on your guys' end, let me know if I'm making this up. You probably respect Bama more than you respect Florida. You hate Florida. You hate Florida more.
Yeah. Like I didn't. There was no real disdain towards Alabama on my end until Nick Saban went there.
Right.
But I've hated Florida since Steve Spurrier hung 50 up on us in the 90s. The first game I went to in Tiger Stadium was the 2003 national championship year. You want to know what game I went to? The 19-7 loss.
The only loss. Yep.
The only loss.
Chris leaked the theatric face it.
Yeah, there's literally hatred for Florida on my end. So it's no disrespect to you or nothing like that. But Alabama is more of, like you said, it's like we respect them. We want to beat them because they're the standard, what I mean, and the Saban factor. But there's no game that I look forward to winning more every year than Florida.
That you pointed out that game. 2020 is probably the game for me. That was
the shoe game.
That was a dagger. Like I remember walking out of that stadium, like, what the hell just happened?
That was crazy.
I'm gonna tell you, it's funny. So I live in Alabama. So my disdain for Alabama is just because I remember 1993 through 2006, where all it was if we win the Iron Bowl, we'll talk a little trash to Auburn and we'll move on with life. And then I remember from 2007 on to now, where all they do is talk, like they walk on water. So that's my disdain for Alabama. Now, Florida, ironically, it was I think it was 2008. No, 2009. 2009. I was working at Sam's Club, and there was a lady there who was a huge Florida fan. and she would talk trash to me so much. To it burned a hole in me. And then that was the year that they played in Tiger Stadium, and the score was like 10-3. Riley Cooper scored by pulling he pulled somebody, I forget, he was running by the DB, pulled his jersey, ran and caught the touchdown. And so from then on, it's been on and popping. But yeah, I think we all kind of have that game for that team that we just don't like. But tell me, man, how did you become not just a Florida fan, but a Florida, I guess personality, saying as someone who covers them?
Yeah, just born into it. The Gator fan, parents Gator fans, just raised to be that way. And I look at kind of like you in Alabama. I grew up in the state of Georgia, so yeah, I'm going through grade school with Steve Spurrier's kicking Georgia's tail up and down the field every year, except for 1997. But so I had all the bragging rights going through school and all that, and not so much anymore, of course. But so of course grew into a passion, love Gator football. Got into the TV business, got a job in 2006 out of college, and was able to start, filming on the sidelines of Gator games starting in 2006. Urban Meyer's second year, we went to a national championship that year. There I am on the swamp, on the sideline, in the swamp, on the sidelines, traveling with the team, and the heyday of winning championships there under Urban Meyer. So that's just the way I was covering the team at the time. But the job itself took me in different directions, and wasn't able to do those things much anymore. And then about 2016 is Jim McElwain's second year. I wasn't really satisfied with the coverage Florida was getting, and not necessarily as a shot out there. I just thought everything was too sunshine and rainbows, and I was just like, it's not that. You're not getting the truth out there. So kind of before the big podcast boom and all that kind of stuff, kind of just got into it, started doing some YouTube videos, turned into podcast, and kind of just went from there. I never thought Gators Breakdown would grow as much as it did, but kind of in summary, that's the way it went.
Yes. So you were around when for the Urban Meyer days. I bet you got plenty of stories to tell. But
it's funny, like I was just out of college, so I didn't really have many sources or anything like that. I got tons more now. Doing the podcast and all that kind of stuff. It was really at that time really just covering the team. Honestly, it wasn't people giving info or anything like that. Twitter wasn't real. Twitter was still kind of in its infancy then, so you weren't really following sports like we follow it now. Of course, that's a huge source of information now. But as far as behind the scenes story, not really a whole lot from that era.
So you're probably the only person around Gainesville who doesn't have stories from that era.
I mean, most of it's the ones that are they're kind of out there anyway. Everybody watched Swamp Kings and stuff like that, which was a little too positive in the Urban Meyer light a little bit. I don't think they went after Urban like they probably should have.
It's probably the only way he signed off on it.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, I'm not even worried about the Urban stories. It's some of the we'll leave it alone. But
It's not good.
it's
one certain tight end.
It's tight ends. You got it's just,
and then it's two twin brothers too.
Yep.
A wide receiver and a preacher. I'm just saying, man, it's just wild times in Gainesville.
They were winning ball games. That's all that really matters.
They were.
Amazing with winning cures, huh?
Yep. Cures all. Cures all. I want to jump into this first question. I know I'm not trying to put you in the hot seat or anything, but I guess that's no pun intended. A lot of people are kind of on Florida and kind of seeing, kind of down on Florida because of the Billy Napier angle. And there's a lot of talk of him possibly being on the hot seat. I mean, is that a reality, or is he got more time than we actually believe?
I do. Put this way, it is like that second part. I do think there is a hot seat publicly. If things go completely awry, certainly I can see Florida making a move. But at the same time, he is a little more secure than I do think people will give that credit for. I mean, I know I saw it today where I think the betting odds came out for who's going to be the first head coach fired, and Billy Napier's 1-4 odds, I believe. And look, I mean, all you got to do is go back to the last coach. I mean, Dan Mullen's winning football games in one subpar season, and he's gone. Now, don't get me wrong, I was all for that. I was wanting Dan Mullen to be the guy in 2018 when Florida made that hire. I thought he was the guy to hopefully turn it around for Florida. But recruiting, I mean, I was the guy who asked him the recruiting question that went nuts, and the ball was just rolling there, and it could never really get out of his own way, and it was just not headed in the right direction. I thought it was the time to make a move there. So Florida's no stranger to firing football coaches. But in the administration, Billy Napier has a lot of support for the way he's building this thing, even though 11-14 is the overall record right now. If you want to put a number on it, 6 wins and up, I think he's safe. 6 wins is probably a little sketchy, but I do think the administration doesn't want to go through another coaching change. I think they give him one more year you got to give him 1 year with DJ Lagway if he proves, if 6 wins is that mark that, may or not. Anything below 500, anything below 6, I think it's in question. I really do think the administration could make a move. Now, the thing is, Florida's president just resigned last week. Does that make it where everything's kind of put on hold? Like, if there was a number, is that number now, one less win? All right, maybe I'm just thinking out loud here. All right, we'll keep him if he's 6-6. Well, now if he goes 5-7, which is another losing record, do they want to go through a coaching change when you're maybe in question about a president overall as well? So I think there's a lot of factors into it, but there is a lot of internal support for the way he's building this thing. You don't hear about arrests at Florida. You don't hear about players getting in trouble at Florida, but ultimately it comes down to winning ball games. So it's a critical year. Does he get a pass? Does he get graded on a curve because of this schedule? I think some people will look at it that way. This team could. I kind of hate this, but this team could be better, but the record may not reflect it because of the schedule. I'm in the mind of, hey, look, it's year 3. If this thing is headed in the right direction, you come up with some upset wins. You come up with signs of showing progress at Florida. And to me, that's 7 or 8 wins in year 3.
7 or 8 wins with this schedule says a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh yeah, it should. Yeah,
that schedule is brutal. It's one of the toughest I've seen in a while. I don't know who made that schedule, but they deserve to be fired for that.
Hey, you preach it to the choir for some of Gator Nation. They want Scott Strickland out. Yeah, but before you hire the next head coach, you don't get a chance to hire a third. You hired Jim McElwain, it didn't work. You hired Dan Mullen, it didn't work. Does he get a chance to hire a third head coach? But yeah, a lot of people were throwing that schedule in his face as well.
Yeah, it's brutal. Let's talk about some of the changes he's made on staff. Obviously, the one we're all familiar with is he let Corey Raymond go as a secondary coach, and made some more changes to that defense, if I'm not mistaken. So what's the level that there'll be improvement on that side of the ball this year?
Yeah, bringing Ron Roberts as well, as kind of the lack for a better term, head coach of the defense. Austin Armstrong's still the defensive coordinator, but Ron Roberts comes over from Auburn. We really improved their defense in year 1 at Auburn. Can he do the same at Florida? There's a lot of familiarity with him under Billy Napier going back to the Louisiana days, but also him kind of being that mentor for Austin Armstrong back in their time at Louisiana. So they're used to working together, and I do think it's a voice where Austin Armstrong is still probably going to be that game day play caller, but I think if anything needs to be overridden or if their overall game plan, that's going to come from Ron Roberts and the preparation throughout the week. From everything I can gather, Ron Roberts would probably be in the booth. Austin Armstrong will be on the field. Still going through him a good bit, but there's a steady presence there that has a lot of experience. They call him the godfather of this defense that Florida is running. But Austin Armstrong has learned a lot. Went through, he was defensive coordinator at Southern Miss, then went to Bama for a cup of coffee before he was hired at Florida. Spent some time at Georgia with Kirby Smart after Louisiana a bit. So he's been around, and I think he got a wake-up call last year that maybe he wasn't quite ready for an SEC defensive coordinator role. I mean, Florida was better in some metrics on defense last year, but The big warning for Austin Armstrong was giving up the big play. And boy, did Florida's defense give up the big play all the time. So got to get that. But they played a lot of young guys last year. You hope that experience pays off. But also a name you guys are familiar with, too, Gerald Chapman.
I was just about to mention him.
Yeah, up there. Got rave reviews so far, of course. Most coaching changes you get rave reviews for, but we'll see how it pays off for Florida. But he's now coaching the defensive line instead of Sean Spencer, who goes to Texas A&M. Jay Bateman, the linebackers coach, went to Texas A&M as well. And then Will Harris is going to take over for Corey Raymond. So a lot of changes on that side of the ball for a Florida defense that hasn't been good since 2020. I mean, and I know LSU fans are almost in that same boat, not quite as bad as Florida, but this is not the standard for both of our teams' defenses since about 2020 when you look at these two programs. So there's both programs who wanted to take steps on that side of the ball, and you guys made a ton of changes in coaches and staff members. Florida's doing the same on that side of the ball as well, and we'll see if it pays off. But Billy Napier not standing idly by, and letting that defense kind of falter one more time.
All right. I do have a question for the chat. I'll go ahead and bring it up. Miss Danny asks, Napier spoke at media days about his belief in this team. The national media agrees that he has young guys more ready this season than last. And she's asking, do you agree to this or agree or disagree?
So I certainly agree. I mean, this was a team on defense. I'm not going to throw all the excuses on youth last year. There were some issues that I don't think you can just really slam on youth, but I mean, Jordan Castell was a true freshman playing back there on the defensive backfield. Devin Moore was in his second year, but played injured a whole lot last year. You had Shamar James go down with injury at the Georgia game. And up front, you were playing Kelby Collins and TJ Searcy. There were a lot of young faces on this defense last year that you hope, that all that experience kind of pays off this year. And so you can see it. You can see where the experience should pay off on that side of the ball. You hit the transfer portal hard to kind of shore up some deficiencies at safety, at linebacker, on the defensive line as well. They hit all three levels through the transfer portal there. So absolutely, there was a lot of young guys last year that it really should pay off with the staff changes they made as well.
On the offensive side of the ball, y'all have a guy in the backfield that I had on my college fantasy team who I think y'all need to feed a lot more, Montrell Johnson. But
is he still on your fantasy team?
I don't know. He might be this year, depending on how much y'all gonna use him. But considering his backfield mate left him, I might do get him. But the guy I want to talk about is the quarterback, because I think once I did a little bit of deep thinking about it, I think he's a better quarterback than he gets credit for. I think he doesn't really have some of the same skill position guys around him as a lot of the other quarterbacks in the conference. And I think if you were to give him some of the same caliber weapons, I think he would be on the same tier as some of these other guys. So what's your thoughts on Graham Mertz?
Yeah, you can certainly see that. And last year, if we go back to a year ago, it was a big focus for him to cut down on the turnovers. And you could certainly tell that was the focus. He really took care of the ball, maybe too safe with it at times, not going down the field, but he wanted to make sure he was completing the ball. Now the focus is, hey, you got that down. Let's now build on that. Let's start taking some shots down the field. You got Trey Wilson coming back. As we talk about youth, he's going to be in his second year. Elijah Badger was a huge pickup out of the transfer portal from Arizona State. Florida needed that big-bodied outside receiver, so defenses can't really focus on Trey Wilson, taking him out, bracketing him, double-teaming him. They gave more weapons around him. And then you have Andy Jean, Aiden Mizell, who were freshmen last year, didn't really crack the rotation on that much. You're hoping for those guys in their second year to make an impact. But also Chimere Dike, who was at Wisconsin with Graham Mertz. Those guys kind of had a great season as a combo 2 years ago. He wasn't really a good fit for the Luke Fickell offense at Wisconsin, so now he transfers to Florida, very familiar with Graham Mertz there, and then Khalil Jackson returns as well. So I think there's pretty good top four options there, led by Trey Wilson, Elijah Badger, Chimere Dike, Khalil Jackson. But I still think, Florida needs a guy you probably haven't heard of a whole lot whether it be those two second-year guys I mentioned, or Marcus Burke and Jaquavion Frazier's. They need somebody else to step up, guys who have been around the program that I really think could contribute there. I like the first 3-4 receivers, but as the season goes on, Florida needs more of those guys to progress. But certainly more of a focus to go down the field and then hit the transfer portal to get Elijah Badger, who I think is really, really going to help that wide receiver group. It really should help Graham Mertz take that next step.
Looking at this year's schedule, you guys open up with Miami. Then you got Sanford, Texas A&M, Mississippi State, so on and so on. What do you need to see, I guess, in game 1 or game 2 that will make you feel as though, okay, this team has turned a corner from last year?
For me, it is going to be, and I'm going to extend it off of it. You got to get that win versus Miami first. But the problem for Billy Napier so far has been building momentum. Go back to 2 years ago. Get that big opening win versus Utah. His first game as a Gator head coach, first big home game of the season. You get that win versus Utah. A week later, you get pounded by Kentucky. Last year, okay, you opened the season up on the road against Utah. It didn't look so good. But that first big home game of the season, you beat Tennessee. The next week, barely get by Charlotte, go to Kentucky 2 weeks later, and get beat again. Billy Napier hasn't been able to build momentum. So I'm looking past that Miami game. It'd be great. Billy Napier kind of needs that opening season win. But what happens when you go to Texas A&M, or what happens 2 weeks later when Texas A&M comes to the Swamp? Can you finally build some momentum? Can you finally use that opening, that big early season win to build some momentum in a schedule? You're probably going to need it. You're probably going to need to build wins early on in the schedule because November is brutal. But more importantly, it is time to build some momentum. It is time to stack wins, something Billy Napier hasn't been able to do in his first 2 seasons.
God, November is God. Man.
And look, you call that signs of progress. You got to get an upset win somewhere along the way. You know, if things are happening, if steps are being taken, Georgia, Texas, okay, you're probably not getting them there. You've got to be able to steal one between LSU, Ole Miss, and Florida State. You've got to find at least get one of those to end the season. You can't. Last year, you ended the season on a 5-game losing streak. That was started by an inexplicable loss to Arkansas. You had Missouri beat. You had them 4th and 18, and they convert that. You had Florida State. You were up 12-0. Your ball on their side of the field, trying to get together a big play, lose all momentum in that game. So there were chances late in the season last year to get that big win. There's plenty of chances this year to get that big win in November. If things are headed in the right direction, you got to go get one of those upset wins.
I would agree with that, just as long as it's not in Baton Rouge. But we talked about Etienne departing the program and going to the rival. I know that had to sting some, but
yeah,
who else did y'all lose, and how did they get replaced?
Yeah, so I'll go Etienne. Certainly, his presence is going to be missed for sure. He was. If you look at him and Montrose Johnson's stats the last couple of years, they're almost identical.
Yep.
But he was that big play guy. And when you needed a big play, Etienne was that guy. You were going to get the ball in his hands. So Trayon Webb's in his second year. You'll try to replace some of it. But Jaden Ball, true freshman, who, if you go back and watch the spring game, if you want to take away anything from a spring game, really was hard to tackle. I mean, 1 foot in the dirt, making a cut, and he made something happen. They're really excited about KD Daniels, too, another true freshman running back. Cam Carroll, the transfer from Tulane last year, who tore his knee up in preseason camp. We'll see if he comes back as well. And Jacoby Jackson, a JUCO running back from last year as well. Florida's deep at running back, but do they have anybody who can replace the explosiveness of Etienne? That's the biggest question there. And then Princely Umeallen, let's not forget about him. The Florida lost him. You know, he's at Ole Miss. You go back to SEC Media Days last week, guys. Trevor Etienne is first-team running back. Princely Umeallen is third-team defensive end on all SEC. So you're missing all SEC contributors that would be on this Florida Gator team. But Princely, you know, it was take it or leave it with Princely. He was the most consistent pass rusher for Florida, but also let up a ton of big plays, couldn't hold contain consistently. A running back would run right around him, and because he was concentrating on getting to the quarterback. But he was still Florida's best and most consistent pass rusher last year. So Florida's got to find a way to replace that. TJ Searcy in his second year, LJ McCray, a true freshman from the state of Florida, Daytona Mainland, 5-star, going to come in, I think, almost by probably game one. I mean, if he's anything, I don't want to put this label on him, but for a name you guys certainly know, Florida could get anything close to him like a Harold Perkins, you'll take it. But they're going to give him every opportunity to be that guy like Harold Perkins was at LSU as a freshman.
I want to ask this. You talked about people who left, transfer and stuff.
There were more, but those are the bigger ones.
The biggest loss to me in the wide receiver room going to the draft, Ricky Pearsall. I know Florida always has consistently put out wide receivers, or at least had someone. What do you guys look like in the wide receiver room this year?
Trey comes back, and for him, Billy Napier told us in the springtime, we're going to wear him out. And that's what he said about Trey Wilson. And that should be music to Gators fans' ears. You want the ball in Trey Wilson's hands as much as possible. But it was a good 1-2 punch. I mean, you saw about midway, starting at the Georgia game, you saw Trey Wilson take that next step, from kind of going as a freshman to not really being a freshman anymore. So he's back in his second season, and the kind of going back to the relationship with Mertz, it's Trey Wilson becoming more of a receiver. Last year, if you go back and look at highlights of Trey Wilson, it was a lot of those pop passes. It was a lot of reverses and sweeps. Now it's about taking those next step and becoming more of a receiver. So him getting more down the field. And as I said, you bring in Elijah Badger, who I think will certainly help him, put him on the outside so Trey can stay in that slot. They're going to move Trey around, but he's going to be such a weapon there in the slot if you can match him up against a nickel, if you can match him up against a linebacker or safety at times, because they're not going to be able to guard him as long as Elijah Badger is that guy on the outside as well. Chimere Dike will be in the slot too a good bit as they move Trey around. So if Billy Napier is true to his word and says we're going to wear Trey out, to me that should be a good sign for this Florida offense. But there's a bunch of names, as I said earlier, that you're looking to take that step. I mean, Marcus Burke is a name that is coming out from the springtime. He's in his, he's in his fourth season, so it's time to break out. Had some off the field issues, had some commitment issues to the game of football. Apparently he has turned that corner, but from Jacksonville, you like to see Jacksonville guys do good. Florida's recruited Trinity Christian really well. I mean, Colin Hurley, backup quarterback for you guys there. I mean, it's been a pipeline for Florida. That's where Marcus Burke's from, Trayon Webb's from. So you want to see those guys do well to keep that pipeline going for Florida. So Marcus Burke, that would be the name I would say look out for besides the other guys that I've mentioned so far.
Let me ask you about a guy, prize commit that came in that you mentioned earlier, DJ Lagway. Do you think there'll be any pressure this year for him to play? Or do you think it just depend on, what the season looks like? Or do you think there'll be pressure to play him early to kind of save Napier's job, so to speak?
I think most of it, as far as pressure goes, depends on how the season's going.
Okay.
If Graham Mertz is lighting it up and Florida's winning ball games, there's not going to be a whole lot of pressure. You want to get him some experience, but if Florida's just treading along and you by the time you get to the Georgia game, there's a bye week before that, and you're 4-3. I think there's 7 games before that game or something like that. There's going to be pressure to play him. Look, I think there's a plan to play him anyway, with pressure or not. I do think he's too talented to keep off the field. I think a package of 10 to 15 games, short yardage situations, goal line situations. I think there's going to be a plan in place for DJ Lagway to play.
A Tebow type package.
A Tebow type, yeah. For lack of a better comparison, I know Florida fans are tired of hearing it, but Chris Leak and Tim Tebow. I mean, we saw it in 2006. So I certainly can see something like that because I just think he's too good to keep on the sideline. But certainly, if the losses mount up, I do think, and look, that's another thing about the schedule. it hurts Florida at the end of the year. If things aren't headed right, there's a lot of times you'll turn to the younger guy.
You can't against that schedule, though, bro.
Yeah, and even if you do and say, all right, go take your lumps, what are you
Hurts
really
his
learning?
confidence. Yeah, it hurts his confidence, too.
Yeah, so, that schedule hurts in that regard, too. If you're going to turn the page to DJ Lagway, man, there's some hard defenses to go learn against.
Yeah. Unfortunately, in year 3 of my road to glory with my wide receiver, DJ Lagway has transferred to Houston. I'm just foreshadowing just in case the EA decide to do the Simpson thing and predict some of these things.
So he returns to the state of Texas. Okay.
Yeah, he returned. But I do want to ask you this. Speaking of players returning, Cormani McClain, all the wild stories are out there. I mean, I guess blink twice if they're true. No, seriously.
No, I'll put it out there. I mean, there were about a week or two ago, and the report that was out there of him being late to meetings, and that was true. It was, and it's going to be a very slippery slope for him. Now, apparently, a come to Jesus moment it needed to be had. He needs football to get going, but at the same time, you can't give him too many chances. After the reputation of the recruiting, the reputation of Colorado, certainly I think the players have a lot of say in what will happen with Cormani McClain. I think the leadership council that Billy Napier has on his team, there'll be a lot to be said there. Apparently, everything is good to go now. OTAs, of course, this week, fall camp starting next week. I think as long as football is there, he'll be okay. But at the same time, yeah, certainly a lot of growing up to do for Cormani McClain. And look, yes, definitely won't shut the door on that. But I was all for bringing him in. He's on that preferred walk-on status. He has to earn his scholarship. There's not much, there's not much that can really mess up Florida here. Some people were skeptical about breaking him in because, what does this do to the culture? Well, if it takes one player to mess your culture up to begin with, how strong was your culture in the first place? Yeah. So I think it's very little risk of bringing Cormani McClain into the program.
I heard that about the walk-on. I thought that was I really thought that was just some TikTok rumor.
Nope, he does not have a scholarship right now.
Wow. So let me ask you this. You mentioned earlier when we talked about Dan Mullen, you talked about recruiting and how his lack thereof kind of got Florida in a little bit of a hole. I know Billy Napier hasn't necessarily been elite at recruiting, but he's been good enough to get by in the SEC, except for this current season. What's going on right now with Florida recruiting, or is it just we haven't quite got it the commits yet, but they got a nice little class brewing, they just haven't got guys to commit, or is there something going on to why they're so low in the rankings right now?
Yeah, two things with that. Right now, they are just off their biggest commitment of the class. Vernell Brown, the third 5-star wide receiver, just did commit to Florida on Sunday.
Okay.
But at the same time, they're still at Florida's, I think, in the 50, 60 range of recruiting rankings. If you want to go by that right now, only 10 commits heading into August. And a lot of it is basically what we've kind of been discussing about Billy Napier. And is he going to be at Florida? How long is he going to be at Florida? I think a lot of recruits want to see, the product on the field. And if that's going to be enough for Billy Napier to be their head coach, if he's going, I don't think there's going to be, if Florida could go 7-8 wins, like I said earlier, you're not going to flip a whole entire class to go push for a top 10 class or anything like that. No, I think the groundwork is at where it's now. Top 15 might be the top of the attainable if you want to just go by rankings. It's going to be a small class anyway. They're not expecting many departures from this class, so it's going to be a small class to begin with. Florida's not going to have a whole bunch of NFL guys, and you hope not a lot of guys transfer either. But the crux of it is guys want to see what Florida football looks like this fall. A lot of big games. There's going to be a lot of recruits on campus for the Miami game, the Texas A&M game, the UCF game, Ole Miss later in the season, LSU later in the season. There's a lot of chances to get names in that stadium and try and treat them to a win over some big name programs. But that's what the recruits want to see. They're in a lot of battles for committed prospects to take a team like Auburn, for example. There's a whole ton of battles between Florida and Auburn for Auburn commits right now. And those guys have they've pretty much come out and said, I just got to see what Florida looks like in the fall before I really consider either flipping or committing to the Gators.
Makes sense.
So let me ask this. Danny in the chat asked a question. Cause she lives in South Georgia, and she said to her it feels different. Is the Florida Georgia rivalry as big as it used to be, or is she right about it? Just feels different.
If you're a Florida fan, it certainly feels different because you're getting your teeth kicked in every year. Believe me, it hurts to say that. I grew up in South Georgia too, so I don't know where Danny's from, but I grew up in Stetson Bennett's hometown of Blackshear, Georgia. So there's a connection there. But yeah, it certainly feels different if you're a Florida fan. Look, it's my favorite event of the year. I mean, it is an event. That game is an event. World's Artist Outdoor Cocktail Party, even though the schools don't want us to call it that. That's what it is. And so much built up around that game. But yeah, it hasn't been great if you're a Florida fan recently. And look, that's the difference. Florida Georgia is a great rivalry to me. It is my favorite rivalry, certainly probably top 5-ish in college football. But man, it's so streaky. You don't get the Texas-Oklahoma upset. Usually the favorite team wins. There's not a ton of upsets in the game. It's very streaky. Florida's been on streaks. Georgia's been on streaks. It doesn't go back and forth very often. So while it's a fun rivalry game, right now it just seems like Georgia's in control of the game in recent past and for the foreseeable future right now. So it certainly feels different if you're on the orange and blue side of things.
This is the last one I got for you. And if I'm out of line, I apologize. If I don't forgot the coach's name. If LinkedIn Billy, if he gets fired after this season, what is the odds that Florida goes after Lane Kiffin?
The fan base would love. Some of the fan base would love it. No, let me go there. I don't want to speak for the whole fan base. I know in my Gators Breakdown Plus Discord chat, there's a lot of love for Lane Kiffin and there's a lot of hate for Lane Kiffin. From everything I can gather, if it ever come to that, the administration would not go after Lane Kiffin.
So the current AD would not go.
No.
But
no, and boosters. There's big money boosters who would not want Lane Kiffin in Gainesville. For everything I've heard, Lane Kiffin would be interested.
I think he would be too.
Would love the Florida job. From things I've been able to gather. If I'm speaking out of line, okay, somebody could correct me there. But from everything I can gather from different lines of sources, he would certainly be interested in the Florida job. But yeah, I mean, his name is going to be at the top. And if Billy Napier's fired, I hope he's not. I hope it works out for Billy Napier. But if he's let go and the Vegas odds come out that night or that day, Lane Kiffin's going to be top 1, 2, 3 choices there. Whether it happens or not, his name's going to be in that mix.
One more real quick, people. All right. How mad would Florida be if they didn't get Lane Kiffin and he wound up at Miami?
They'd be ticked off a little bit. They'd be ticked off a little bit, a lot, especially if he goes on to have success.
I think if he, I think those are the 2 schools he'd leave Ole Miss for.
Yeah,
I think it had to be a Florida school, and those 2 have the prestige. You know what I mean? They have the tradition. They have all the resources that he needs to win. So I think those are the only 2 he would leave for.
Yeah,
I would. Not gonna lie, I'd much rather see him in Miami, but I think he would definitely do damage if he was in Florida.
Yeah, he'd be near the top of my personal list if it came down to it.
Yeah, I do want to say I too would love to see Billy Napier have a long tenure at Florida.
Me too.
Means he's got to win. Means he's got to win this year. I mean, I know some rival fan bases say, we hope he's there for a long time. Well, he's not going to be there for a long time if he's not winning.
Listen, win is not everything.
We can give him one more year.
It's
see what it looks
overrated.
like with Lagway. You know, let's see what it looks like.
Listen, maybe he's been playing on the Heisman level. He got to dial it back to All American, and we can go from there. But no, Dave, listen.
I hope it's that easy. I hope we can change the difficulty a little bit.
Dave, you were just as great as everybody told us you were. I truly appreciate you coming on. The Florida hate dropped a little bit.
I feel you.
I'm just saying.
That's college football. That's college football.
When the ball is kicked off.
There you go. Yeah.
I mean, I like Dave. He's good people in my book.
Yeah.
But that team he represents.
Believe me, like I said, I was raised in Georgia. Some of my best friends are Georgia fans, but I cannot stand Georgia. I don't like Florida State. I don't like LSU either. So I mean,
that's how it should be.
Exactly. That's college football. That's college football.
I actually do have a really good Florida story.
Okay.
When I was deployed, it was me and my two roommates. They were both Florida fans.
Oh.
So LSU,
what years was this?
This was 2011. This was that year. So when LSU beat Florida, the bet was, I had an LSU hat, and my roommate would have to wear it to take a picture in it. He had a Florida shirt, and I would have to wear it and take a picture in it. Here's the difference. At the time, I was about 220. Fit Army soldier. He was about $1.25 soaking wet. I was not about to put that shirt on. I was not about to fit that shirt. So I was so glad when LSU won.
If he still wanted that shirt, he probably wouldn't want you to wear it either.
Oh, listen. That shirt would have been stretched.
Exactly.
But Dave, again, thank you so much for coming on with us. We have to bring you back during the season,
sure.
So we talk about this game and go on, man. But wish you much success in your podcast, on your show.
You guys
do that. Where they can find you at, man.
Yeah, Daily. I've been forgetting that lately. I'm so rude.
Yeah.
My bad.
Good. GatorsBreakdown.com. You can find articles and links to the podcast there. Podcast is available everywhere. YouTube, favorite podcast platform, all that good stuff. And on Twitter at GatorDave_SEC. That's where about where I hang out the most, besides the Gators Breakdown Plus Discord.
All right, man. Again, thank you so much. Look forward again talking to you in the season, and I'd love to have you back.
For sure, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Gator David Ward.
I gotta give you your props, bro. You got us some fire guests, man. Dave was just as good as the last few guests we've had, whether it been Ole Miss, whether it was Oklahoma, you know, no matter who it was, man, you got us some fire guests, bro. Good job.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. It's amazing when you can actually find people who are enthusiastic about talking. I'm like, okay, this will be good.
Yeah,
this will be good. But man, I'm looking forward to. I know that's pretty much all the teams we play except for Nichols and South Alabama. I don't know anybody that will even. I even hit up Zach because he down in Mobile. Zach was like, I know no one that even covers, so somebody looking for a way. Hey, there you go. Danny, appreciate it. I forgot to tell you in Valdosta.
Oh,
Georgia. Yeah. That dude there. I think he back in Alabama now.
Oh, yeah.
I think so. He had another incident.
Oh, Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Parents for him.
Yeah. We can go through these we might say
rapid fire. Oh, we're gonna say something? That's cool.
We'll say some. I say about the antitrust. We can say that because I think we know.
Wait till Friday when all of it actually come out. Because right now it's just bits and pieces, and I don't think we would do it justice trying to talk about it.
Yeah,
we don't got a full story on that. Because
Yeah.
I've been hearing different things like about walk-ons, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that they done away with walk-ons. Then I heard technically you can still have walk-ons. So I'm, you know, I mean, I gotta,
So that's the scholarship question. That's next. You want to talk about that?
it's
Too early.
that's part of the antitrust deal, though.
Is it?
Yeah, it's two, unless it's two different settlements. I'm pretty sure that's part of that. That
Okay, we can hold off. We can hold off. I do want to talk about Bill Belichick.
yeah, that story was crazy.
So Kyle Shanahan told the story basically that San Francisco offered Bill Belichick a job on the sideline, be a
Yep.
part of the coaching staff. He did not. He declined.
Yep. Don't that sound like Bill Belichick though? Like if I ain't in full control, I ain't finna come be your, you know.
That's exactly kind of what ran through my head. I think it was big when he said the Patriots talking about letting them go, and he said, "Well, I'll let go of, it's kind of, I'm tired. I'm leaving this. I'm tired. You make me sick. Well, I mean, baby, I'll make sure to take out the trash." That's kind of what that was to me.
Yeah.
I'll let go. I'll let go of GM duties.
Yeah. Just trying to keep his job.
Just trying to keep his job.
The fact that only one team really showed interest in him as a head coach said a lot to me though. I think he needed Sean Payton this thing, Mike McCarthy this thing. Take a year off, go watch football. You know what I mean, from a different viewpoint, without the grind of being a head coach, and then try to come back rejuvenized, refocused, and try it again then. But I think it's best for him that he's not coaching this year.
Yeah.
You can answer Danny's question if you want to.
I don't know. She said that was going to be my question. Is there a cap on total players now?
Yes.
That scholarship number is 105.
Yes, the roster limit is 105. So, but from my understanding, this why I need to wait till Friday to look. But from my understanding, you don't have to use all 105 scholarships.
No, you don't.
But
you're at a competitive disadvantage.
But not necessarily, because from what I read today, football, basketball will no longer be head counter sports, which means head counter sports, which means however many players you got is that many scholarships. You're saying 85 scholarships for 85 players. See what I'm saying? From my understanding, and I could have read this wrong, but you can now give partial scholarships in football and basketball. So let's say you already been paying for 85 scholarships, right? So then, and you really can't afford but like 10 more, right? But you got 20 more players you can add.
Yeah, split them.
You can give each one of them 20 players half a scholarship. See what I'm saying?
Interesting.
So I need to double check that Friday whenever it come out, but that to me was because like if I don't know what y'all got in Alabama, but here in Louisiana we got the thing called TOPS. You know what I'm saying? Well, if you
we won't have
certain grades and all that, they pay for your college education. Well, if you a school like let's say ULM, I'll just use them for example. They ain't got the money for 105 scholarships.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? They already been paying 85 though. You know, they might scrunch up 10 more scholarships. Well, let me find 20 Louisiana kids who gonna get TOPS. Anyway, they tuition already paid for. So this scholarship, you know what I'm saying? I don't gotta give them a full scholarship. I can just give them this half scholarship.
That makes sense. That is actually okay. I like that.
But I think so a lot of people are saying that this is gonna hurt the group of 5 schools. And I understand it to a certain extent because like that 3-star borderline 4-star who LSU don't have room for in this recruiting class,
Mhm.
they might got room for them in this recruiting class. So instead of going to Tulane or Louisiana Tech, LSU getting them. You see what I'm saying? And so I think it can hurt the group of fives in that sense. But there's a lot of kids who walk on at LSU or Texas or Georgia or wherever who would be good group of five players.
But would they have to be a walk-on now if they're getting a scholarship?
But that's the thing though, it's only 105. Last year
I get
LSU
what you
had like 117 kids or 120 kids on their roster.
I
So
get that now.
15 of those players can't play for LSU no more.
Mm,
They gotta go somewhere else.
I get it.
But this a problem I had with baseball, right? So the baseball number, scholarships going from 11.7 to 34 is excellent. Wonderful.
Yep.
However, that's the roster limit now, 34.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be 40.
Mm-hmm.
So you do 6 times the number of schools that play baseball in the country, and you're looking at some 18,000 something or 1,800 some kids that ain't gonna be able to play college baseball no more at the D1 level. You know what I mean? So
Right.
while it's great that more kids getting scholarship, there's some kids who ain't gonna have opportunity no more. And you couple that with the fact that less kids are going to the draft because there's fewer rounds now and all of that, and you really got a lot of kids who don't really have a spot no more.
Yeah. That's a really good point. I didn't think about that. Or I didn't know all of that, shall I say. Canadians, women's soccer. There were 2 coaches that have been kicked out, booted from the Olympics for what is being called spying with a drone.
Let me be a Belicheck in that thing, cuz.
Yeah, feeling out.
Damn, I was wondering where Connor Stallions was at.
Yeah,
Him to be on the Canadian women's soccer team.
Yeah, he's they were filming, I forget the country. Somebody raised concern and they have been booted from Paris. Debut. Wow. It's wild. I never would have. Yes, I don't put nothing past people, but still. UFC 304 this weekend. Leon Edwards rematch against Bilal Muhammad. The first time they fought, it was called a no contest. Leon Edwards accidentally poked Bilal in the eye.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and Bilal was hot.
Ain't this another title fight too?
It is. Well, I don't know if it's a title fight, but
I thought I saw it was 2 title fights. I could be wrong. Though.
It's is it? It actually it is. You're right. Interim heavyweight championship. Aspinall versus Curtis Blaze too, and I think the winner will take on John Jones.
Oh, he healthy now?
Yeah, he healthy. He actually just had a situation where he got in trouble for they said he threatened a urine samplist, the person who take your urine at the drug.
Threatening USADA.
Yeah. It's funny you say USADA. I had to think. I don't know why I was thinking Usain Bolt. But.
That dude should have played football for Urban Meyer.
His brother is already having problems.
Shit, which one?
The one with the one who was out here. Yeah, the one who was out here singing songs and talking. He got some bad stuff.
In the NFL though.
Yeah, he do. That's what a family.
Yeah, you ain't lying, dog.
Yes. You got something to say? You got something to talk about? Because you just can't be popping up on camera. You ain't got nothing to talk about.
You can ask me.
I can ask you. Okay, I'll ask you some questions. Come on. All right. All right. So football practice started yesterday, right?
Yeah,
Okay. How was it?
great.
It was great. Okay. What position you playing this year?
Safety and wing back.
Wing back. All right.
No D line, huh?
He said no D line. No, you unshrugged his shoulders. Ain't gonna be no put you on no dog on D line. We was talking about the game earlier. College football.
I heard.
Yeah. So how has it been for you?
Good.
Good. You play on Heisman though, don't you?
Yeah.
You're a better man than me. You got stronger self-esteem than I do. Dad can't
I'm
get.
still sad.
Why?
Team builder.
Oh, you want to do team building?
Yeah.
I told you. Well, we'll look it up.
You said I have to get.
He want to build his own team, do the whole stadium design and all that kind of stuff.
It's a dude around here. And shout out to, let me look his name up. I don't even want to discredit him. But
I saw
around
other
here.
teams.
He
They were
created-
cool.
Hold on.
He created every high school in our area, bro,
Oh, that's dope.
on the game. His name Holden Altman. Shout out to him, bro. But he created every school from Neville to St. Fred's to all the private school. Like, he created every high school with their jerseys and everything, dog.
Oh wow, that's dope. Yes.
Couldn't I create Athens?
You could create Athens High School. Yeah. There you go. You ain't in the camera.
Yeah, I gave you an
Let's
idea.
go this way.
Yeah. You said Aunt said they gave you an idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
I barely. All I heard was high school thing.
Yeah. Man, I'm trying to see what else, man. It was.
I got you, man. So your boy yesterday, I was looking for something to do at work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So found a daily fantasy baseball, right?
Yeah.
So it was my first time in my life ever doing this for baseball. I got 5th place out of 50th.
Oh, that ain't bad. That ain't bad.
What'd you say? I can't hear you.
I know. It's just shh. You just stand there and look handsome. see if we can get some more views. I said, handsome, why is you looking goofy? All right. Oh man, shout out to Houston. Shout out to H-Town. I almost forgot about them, man. You know what I'm saying? All my kids, well, I say my kids, my son and you know what I'm saying, all the other freshmen and stuff had media day today. Put on them uniforms, you know, full game time uniforms.
I seen the video of him in the uniform, man. Number 16. I see.
Yeah, man. I was looking at Kobe Young, man. Shout out to K2. Yeah, it is on. He's number 18. So
okay, 16.
It's gonna be a dangerous duo, man.
Okay.
If we don't see it this year, we definitely gonna see it this year. I think we'll see it this year though.
Yeah. I'm with you. I hope we see it this year though. I ain't got patience like that, man.
Yeah. Oh, good question. She said, when does LSU fall camp begin?
I don't know.
I want to say it's next week.
I think it is. Yeah, because Bayou Splash this week. Oh, we didn't talk about that.
Bayou Splash.
Boy, you seen the guest list?
I hadn't seen all of it. I saw some of them, and I was like,
yeah.
I know Meadows will be supposed to be there.
So DJ Pickett, Harlan Berry, Jonah Williams, all 5 stars. Derek Meadows. Hold on, let me go back. DJ Pickett and Harlan Berry both LSU commits.
Yeah.
Jonah Williams is a heavy lean according to some of the experts to be an LSU commit. Then you got Meadows, Tyler Miller, Damian Shanklin, Charles Ross, Keelan Moses, Zion Williams, JT Lindsay, Brandon Brown, Jake Thomas, all 4 stars committed to LSU. And then you got Antoine Fegans from Alabama, the 4-star safety, who uncommitted. Then you got the 3-star wide receiver from Destrehan that's committed to Michigan. You got 3-star cornerback Aiden Anding from Ruston, and then 3-star tight end from South Carolina. And that's just the 25 class. 26 class, you got 3 5-stars. Jakeem Stewart, you gonna feel old on this one. Chris Henry Jr.,
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Jackson Cantwell, and then Bryson Martinez. And then there's a 2027 kid also from Louisiana. So yeah, that's a loaded group this weekend, man.
Angel Reese now I'm on break. Think she'll come back?
She in
already-
Paris.
Oh shit. What's she doing in Paris? Just watching the Olympics?
Man, probably just going to the Olympics.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah, that's true. Speaking of that, did you see Cam Newton doing the impression of her?
Yeah, that dude
Stuff
crazy.
with that. You know what I'm saying?
But
She
see,
said,
that goes
"You
that,
get fluid out."
so it's been a lot of backlash about people saying that Angel is bringing eyes to the WNBA. Like, she might not be bringing eyes to the same level that Caitlin Clark is,
But she is.
but like Lil Durk and G Herbo and all them dudes, they not pulling up to see Caitlin Clark, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, she bringing eyes to a different audience.
I was just gonna say,
And like to the hip hop community, they wasn't watching it. They're not watching it for Caitlin Clark. They're watching it for Angel Reese. Cam Newton not watching it for Caitlin Clark. You know what I mean? So it's like you can't discredit what she's doing to bring eyeballs to the game just because it ain't the eyeballs that you think of, or it's just not to the same magnitude that Caitlin Clark is.
yeah, a lot of people are coming. One, they want to see young black girls see themselves in Angel, just like young white girls see themselves in Caitlin Clark.
Representation matters.
It does. So it's people who love the game will watch it for Caitlin Clark and for Angel.
Prime example. Shohei Ohtani bringing Japanese eyes to MLB. You know,
I agree.
You know, Mike Trout was bringing eyes to MLB, but Shohei Ohtani bringing a different set of eyes. They both doing the same thing. It's just what demographic are we talking about here?
Agreed. Just like Jeremy Lin brought eyes to
Yao Ming. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like they bring eyes to your demographic.
That's a great point. Great point. Yes.
Caitlin Clark's should be pronounced as
what? Don't get me canceled.
Caitlin Clark.
So
where's the E? Because there's no
CAI.
Oh yeah.
CAIT, not CAT.
So we got a question. How you guys felt about the WNBA All-Star game, the All-Stars versus Team USA? I love it. I love that matchup.
Yeah.
I think they should do it more often, honestly. And I think the NBA should do.
I was thinking
the world versus the USA. All-Stars. You know what I'm saying? Like have Jokic and Luka and Giannis and whoever on the world side versus the American side.
They don't they do that for the
They did it for the
rookies.
The Rising Stars, yeah.
The Rising Stars, yeah. NHL does it.
Yeah. Well, NHL this year they did like a little tournament. It was like a
I think was that part of their skills though, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was something like that. Yeah, that was
skills. But they always do they'll do NHL versus the world. USA versus the world. So
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Good point. The old vets was bringing the demographic of real hoop heads who just wanted to watch women's basketball. Now you got people watching it, you know what I'm saying, to see Caitlin Clark, to see Angel Reese. It's different reasons that people watching, this different demographic watching. At first, it was just a small group of people like me who like watching women's basketball. Now it's Oh, I want to watch Caitlin Clark. I want to watch Angel Reese. Oh, dang. Now that I see this, Enrique Agumawale good. Oh, Asia Wilson, a dog. Let me watch her
First
too.
of all, I'm not going to let you keep attacking me on this show. I watch it because of Angel Reese. And yes, I can pronounce Enrique Ogumawale and Nneka Ogumake. I can't pronounce them now.
I'm proud of you, man.
Get out of here. Get out of my lap.
What
Yeah,
about
you watch it too, don't it?
what about the
WNBA.
girl?
No.
What about the girl from Dallas who
No.
on Team Germany?
Who?
What about the girl on
I
the
have
Dallas
no.
Wings that plays on Team Germany? Satu.
Siable. It ain't Saboli.
Sabale.
Sabale. Yeah. You right. She do play for Germany. I thought you was gonna say something with a Nitzel Switzel in it. I am.
Nah.
I can't pronounce them.
She back now. She back healthy now. So
I did see that.
she didn't play all year in the W, but she played. She should be back after the Olympic break. That's crazy. They got a month off in the middle of their season, bro.
Yeah. Every year a bubble. Well, every 4 years is a bubble. So, yeah. You know something I was thinking about? We was talking about earlier when we opened the show talking about in college football. Everybody who was playing talked about, or who we brought on, we asked, said they the most looking forward to Dynasty.
And everybody been playing Road
to Glory. Yeah. So I thought that was interesting.
But see, I said Road to Glory though. That was always my favorite part of the game.
Yeah.
I'm mad that they took out the high school portion of it.
I am upset about that as well. Because I feel like I'm gonna go through these 4 years too fast.
Well, not just that though, but like now your interest is all based off the wrong stuff. Like how schools are interested in you is just based off where you from or like what's important to you, NIL or not. You know what I'm saying, like that. But back in the day, if you didn't play good in your games, it didn't matter if you wanted to go to LSU. They ain't have no interest in you. You know what I'm saying? Like
that's true.
It made it more realistic to me back then, but
that part was I completely agree. There's something else that they had that's not there, and I was just like, why remove it? I think is it Player of the Week? Player of the Week in Road to Glory. I don't ever see Player of the Week.
No, I don't see that.
I did get Player of the Week 1 week, but it was in the championship game, so it was kind of weird. So maybe they do
playing good enough to get Player of the Week.
Just saying, everybody can't be a, you know what I'm saying, freshman All-American and running back.
I ain't made no running back yet, so
dang. Dan says, shit, EA college football widow, 3 men in the house, and not one speaks to me outside of coming out to eat the food that I cook them.
Sound like she need to learn how to play.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Hold on. Somebody was asking me, and I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, it is. Did you notice that it's EA Sports college football? It no longer has NCAA in the name. I hadn't paid that attention till somebody said something about it. I was like,
everybody still been calling the NCAA 25.
Yeah, that's why I've been. I wonder if because what?
It's because they players don't have to have part of the NCAA no more.
That's true.
It's all through the schools and players individually. You know what I mean?
That was some beer.
They saving the money that they was giving to the money they was giving to the NCAA. They just giving it to the schools and to the players now.
Yeah.
Man, you seen how many people paid to get it early?
Mm-mm.
It's like 2.2 million people paid.
I often say I know it was.
Bro, just think about how much money that's $100. 2.2 million.
150.
Well,
Oh, at least no, the 99
at least
was
100. At least 100. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
2.2 million paid at least 100.
I know I got it because one, I wanted to play it early, but I knew he would want Madden.
Yeah, so you about the bundle, but I'm
the bundle, and that's two games for what I probably would have paid that or more. So
you would have paid about the same, yeah. So, but my thing is, you 2.2 million paid at least $100, and they pay each athlete $600.
I think it's 600. I think so. But they were talking about they ain't know how much they'll get and all that.
Man.
That next round, they're gonna have to up that.
Well, they're not gonna make as much next time.
You don't think so?
Nope. Because some people just content with like I'm gonna use Fox for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
If Fox get the game,
mm-hmm.
he ain't getting it next year too. You know what I'm saying? Like he ain't getting it every year. He just gonna get it the one time, and he might get it once every 5 years or something. You know what I mean? But the first time this year is when they was gonna make all their money, because everybody had to get it at least once. But once they got this one, they ain't got to get next year's no more. You know what I'm saying? Like only the real gamers and true fanatics is gonna get it every year.
Yeah. I agree. That's a good point. That is a great point.
Because I know I probably ain't buying it next year. I probably buy Madden next year. You know what I'm saying? Like,
trying to see. Yes, you got something to say? You want to talk up?
Is that Muhammad's son?
No, that's not. You talking about Muhammad Ali?
Yeah.
No, that's not his son. He does have a grandson that fights. His name is Nico Ali. So,
man, we gotta wrap this up. I gotta go play.
Man. I'll just say, I was trying to see who I was fighting this weekend. So, see if there's any other,
Bud Crawford got a fight coming up. I don't know when it is though. I think it's next weekend.
I think you're absolutely right about that. If you give me 1 second, but boxing schedule, right here, you got Clarissa Shields fights next weekend. I don't see Bud though.
Oh, I know.
Actually, hold on. You might be. There's some more fights here. Nope, he's not on that one. August 3rd.
Yeah, that's next weekend.
And I was looking at this weekend. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a long night. I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Chuck, glad you got here. You know what I'm saying? Go back and check it out, Chuck. We, you know what I'm saying, had on Florida tonight, so you probably would have enjoyed that, Chuck.
Patty the baddie.
Yeah. Patty the baddie. I'm gonna get my theme song together because
play my theme music.
Bye.
All right. Tell the people bye for where you.
Bye.
All right. You can't be. You going next time you come on here. You better have. Why music ain't playing? Next time you come on here, you better have a top. All right. Let me get up out of here. Like that, we out.
This show was presented by betonline.ag. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe on Twitter at Golden Boot. On Instagram at Golden Boot. On YouTube at The Golden Boot Pod. On Facebook at The Golden Boot Pod.